Hey guys, welcome back to Talk Tuesday.
Going up on the Tuesday.
So today for Talk Tuesday, I'm going to be telling you guys all about the dark web, which I'm sure a lot of you know nothing about. You may think that you know a lot about the internet, maybe you spend a ton of time on it like me, but do you really know about the internet as a whole? There's a whole nother world of the internet that you probably don't really know much about. But before we get started with that, I wanted to thank today's sponsor, ExpressVPN, because this video is definitely going to be a bit controversial. It is pretty intense what goes on the dark web, and it is awesome to have a sponsor to educate you guys about this entire world. So as many of you guys probably know, the internet is not the safest place in the world, and you definitely have to use caution when using the internet. So it's really important to protect your information and protect your privacy on the internet when using it. Now, if you want to make sure you stay private and secure on the internet, that is when ExpressVPN comes into the picture. So I'm sure a lot of you don't even know what a VPN is. So basically, when you use your internet without a VPN, your internet browsing data can be tracked by your ISP, cellular provider, ad companies, and hackers. So when you do use a VPN, your public IP address is masked, so even websites you visit won't be able to identify you. So in a way, a VPN is kind of like a tunnel. It's basically a private tunnel for you to use on the internet where no one can see what you're doing while you're on it. Basically, using a VPN allows you to keep your internet data and history private. It's also secure. VPNs encrypt your internet data, preventing others from sniffing your information over the network. And not only that, it also allows you to unblock content. So basically, if you live in another country where they are blocking you from something or blocking a certain service and you want to access it, you can use a VPN to basically access a different IP address of another country to access anything that you want. ExpressVPN has the fastest speeds. It's consistently faster than other VPN providers. It also has server locations in 94 different countries, giving you plenty of options to choose from. They have 24/7 customer support, so you can get help whenever you need it. And it's super easy to use. Just connect with one click. ExpressVPN is less than $7 a month, and it has a 30-day money-back guarantee. I use one because with everything that I know about the internet, I find it so important to keep my browsing history and data secret from the government and ISPs, so I think it's really, really important to have. So take back your internet today using the link in the description box. ExpressVPN is going to be hooking you guys up with 3 months free with that link. Again, that is expressvpn.com/Kendall Rae. Again, that's expressvpn.com/Kendall Rae for the first 3 months free with a 1-year package. But now let's go ahead and get started talking about the dark side of the web. So basically, the internet is split up into 3 different categories. The first one is referred to as the clear web or ClearNet. Now, this is what you're using on an everyday basis. It's probably what you're watching my content on right now. So when you're using websites like YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, social media, Instagram, checking your email, shopping online, you guys, I'm sure a lot of you do that, Googling basic things, watching funny YouTube videos and sharing them with your friends, you are doing all of that on the safe side of the web, the clear web. Safe-ish, I should mention. Now, the clear web only makes up 4% of the entire internet. That is right, people, 4% only. So what is making up the other 96%? So the second layer of the internet is called the deep web. The deep web mostly consists of data and encrypted services. It's anything that you can't access in a search engine, either because it's protected behind a password or because it's buried deep within a regular website. All of our online banking information and medical information is kept in this place. And that's why you have to provide a password in order to have access to that area of the deep web. So chances are you have accessed the deep web before. But then there's the third layer of the internet, and that is the dark web. Now, the dark web is not anything that you want to try to get on. I'm sure some of you are curious, like, do I just go to darkweb.com? No. It is a very hard thing to access, and it is nothing that any of you guys want to be accessing because it can put you in danger, it can put you on an FBI watch list. You definitely don't want to be fucking with the dark web. But basically, it's a subsection of the deep web that you can only access in a special browser such as Tor, which is the onion routing project, or the I2P, the invisible internet project, and that will mask your IP address. So the dark web is part of the deep web, but the difference is that you can't access the dark web with a password. It's a whole nother place. It's been intentionally hidden from regular web browsers. And as you may be guessing, the dark web is where some pretty sketchy shit goes down. Now, the technology to create the dark web was actually created and still funded by the US military researchers in the mid-1990s to allow spies and intelligence agencies to anonymously send and receive messages. So you would think that the dark web would be a small portion of the web because it's pretty hard to access. But because it's so hard to access, it's very difficult to measure just how big the dark web is. However, it is estimated that the dark web consists of about 4 billion pages, so it's pretty damn big. So when someone is using the dark web, most of the time it's people who actually know how to use it and how to stay hidden on it. The identities and locations of the dark web users stay anonymous because they cannot be tracked due to the layered encryption system. The dark web encryption technology actually routes a user's data through a large number of intermediate servers, which projects the user's identity and guarantees that they stay anonymous. So what goes on the dark web? Well, drugs. Lots of drugs. Drugs are probably the biggest part of the dark web. You can buy pretty much any type of drug on the dark web, prescription or not. You can buy serious drugs such as heroin, you can buy pills, cocaine, really anything, and you can buy it in pretty huge quantities. So it has actually become a great place for dealers to sell their product and also for the cartel to sell their drugs. So as you can imagine, there is a pretty big connection between the dark web and the opioid epidemic going on in this country. I mean, so many people die of opioids every year. It's pretty mind-blowing when you look it up. Another thing that goes on the dark web is illegal pornography. Now, I just want to quickly bring up that this reason specifically is why I work with Thorn. Thorn is working on ways to, identify these people on the dark web. They are working on ways to innovate technology to come up with the latest and greatest and the best way to go about attacking these people, because they are organizing themselves through the internet. That's how it's all being done. All the sex trafficking is being done through the internet now. So that is why Thorn is so important and why I've dedicated my channel to raising money for them. As always, the Thorn donation link is listed below, as well as the now permanent t-shirt that is available in my shop. So I'll link that below. But as you can imagine, there's a lot of illegal pornography, such as child pornography. And then there's a huge problem with revenge porn, which is a whole nother thing that Thorn is actually working to combat. But it's basically when someone has pictures of you, or someone sends pictures. I mean, a lot of people do it. There's no shame, but sometimes they get in the wrong hands, or the person wants to take revenge on an ex and they expose their pictures or videos or whatever. So that's what kind of stuff is on the dark web. There's also really weird forums and chat rooms for very bizarre sexual fantasy. And it kind of acts as a way for other people to meet, other people who are into the same type of thing. And it's not just, innocent kinky stuff. It's some fucked up stuff, some really brutal stuff, such as snuff films, which is a whole nother world. I don't even want to talk about that because it's so disturbing to me, but if you really want to know, you can look it up. You can also order just about anything you want, such as fake identities, fake passport, fake social security number, stolen credit card information. And then of course there's weapons, a lot of guns. Now this may seem like something that's not that big of a deal because here in the US, pretty much anyone can get a gun. However, in other countries in the world, it's much more difficult to get a gun. So the dark web is how it's done in other parts of the world and some places here as well. The dark web is a very dangerous place. There's all types of illegal activity going there, and crimes, and just people you do not want to run in contact with, even terrorists. There are secret social media websites, a different version of Instagram, like Dirtygram or something. It's not really called that, I just made that up. But it basically allows you to post things on there that other social media sites would take down. And then there's all these forums and chat rooms where people confess to having raped people, murdered people, and are going into detail about it, but you can't ever track them down because it's all blocked. The dark web even allows people to hire a hitman if they need to take someone else out. And what's really strange, and probably the most disturbing part of all, a lot of body parts, pretty much anything you can think of, is sold on the dark web. Now, what people do with it, I'm not sure, but I'll let you leave that up to your imagination. And then there's also something on the dark web called a red room. And when you log into one of these red rooms, there's normally some type of harassment situation, and it's like a live webcam. Sometimes it's like a blindfolded woman, you know, tied to a chair, and then everything is filmed, and then people chime in live what they want to be done to that person, and they like bet money and stuff. It's really bizarre. There's all type of creepy like experimentation and torture type stuff going on there. Like I said, it is definitely not a place you want to check out. But then there's also a lot of leaked government files, and there's obviously people who work for the government that have pieces of information that they believe should be public knowledge. However, if they were to publicly leak this information, they would obviously be screwed, so they go through the dark web to post it anonymously instead. So I bet a lot of you are wondering, why doesn't the US military just shut down the dark web, especially if they were the ones who created it? Well, the main reason that the government isn't able to just go in and shut it down is because of the fact that the dark web is so fucking big. It's like the universe. It's constantly expanding. And not only that, it's extremely hard to access. Not even some of the best and highly trained government hackers are able to get into certain parts of the dark web. And it's not like they can track down any of these people, because people on the dark web are able to stay hidden because they have all of these basically tools blocking them from being seen, but they're also not using any type of PayPal or credit card. Nothing's connected to them because they are using Bitcoin, which you may not know much about Bitcoin. It's very complicated and hard to understand, so I'm not really gonna get into it. Maybe I should do a full Talk Tuesday on it. But basically one Bitcoin is equal to about 240 bucks, and they can be like divided, and it's very, very interesting because it's like an unregulated financial system. So then there's Ross Albright, and Ross is a man who was heavily involved in the dark web. And in 2011, he basically started a black market on the web. And a lot of you probably have heard of this. I know I had personally heard of this many times, like years ago I had first heard of it, and it's called the Silk Road. This website was up and running from about 2011 to 2013 when he was finally caught and arrested. And then in March of 2013, the site had over 10,000 products for sale by vendors, and 70% of those were drugs. And they had pretty much everything on there. It was like the Amazon of drugs. But while the website was up and running for the 2 years that it was, Ross made $80 million. So that tells you how much money is in the dark web. Now, like I've said a bunch of times now, the dark web is not somewhere I want any of you to try to go. And one of the main reasons for that is because once you're in there, your identity is permanently in there. Obviously, there are people running these websites and they know that they're illegal, so they want to know who's on their website. So they check out everyone that gets onto it. People who have tried to expose the dark web have gotten in serious trouble, kidnapped or killed. So it is not somewhere that you want to be. But I thought it was really, really interesting, and honestly, I had no idea what a small part of the internet I access. Like, I access probably like 0.1% of the internet, if that. It's truly crazy. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this topic. Let me know if you did by clicking the thumbs up, and let me know if there's anything else you want me to talk about, such as Bitcoin, because I think this stuff is really, really interesting, and there's so much more interest in it nowadays because, you know, it's becoming part of the normal conversation. So let me know if you guys want to see it. But that's it for me today, guys. I hope you're having a great day. Stay safe, and I will talk to you next time.